Hello everyone, big welcome to another of our free live classes, and we're aiming a lot of these live classes in the last week or so towards Valentine's Day. So as you can see, we're wearing the romantic tops, romantic jumpers here at Case Flower School. So before we get started, let us know, where are you watching in from? What's the weather like in your part of the country? And again, if there's something that you would like us to cover coming up to Valentine's Day, now is your chance. Place your questions in the comments. I can't promise you, but we will do our best to get back to everybody. Now, something people have been asking us quite a lot about was wrapping up single roses. Now, I know in the past I have some funny videos out there, you'll find them on YouTube, about how to wrap up single roses. But I just wanted this one to be a little bit kind of classier looking, a little bit probably more upmarket, okay? So ingredient wise, I'm going to use a roll of brown paper. I'm going to use some of this red satin material, which you buy on a roll of fabric, so it's actual fabric material, and this was bought from Evergreen Silk Plants. You'll get the brown paper from them as well. So if somebody would do me a favour, and in the comments, put the @ Evergreen Silk Plants, because somebody's bound to ask me, where do you get the red satin from? The other thing you're going to need is a roll of hand-tied twine or hand-tied string. Everybody has their own preference which one they prefer. I prefer this kind of like natural twine, and it comes in green or this beigey colour, and to be honest, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use the beigey one because I just feel with the brown paper, it's going to work out better. You're going to need, foliage wise, I'm going to use a little bit of the ruscus. So this is the Italian ruscus. I won't need it all. Now don't throw that out. What's left over I can use in another arrangement. And again, over the next few weeks coming up to Valentine's Day, I have lots of these videos. Now what I encourage you to do is share these videos onto your own page, and then you will be able to find them. If you want to look back later on and say, how exactly did she fold that brown paper, or how did she do such a thing, you may not be able to find this live class, but you will be able to find it on your own social media page. So click share, save it to your own page, and you'll have it to look back at a later time. Now what we would really appreciate is if any of you are the member of a flower club or a gardening club or a floral society, we would really appreciate it was when you click share that you share it to that club that you happen to be a member of. Now when I say that, everyone shares it to the Flowery Fun group. You needn't do that, sure, I do that myself, you know that way. So share it to maybe something outside of K's, that's what we'd really appreciate. Or maybe you're not a member of another flower arranging group, but you know somebody who loves flowers. So do us a favour, tag them in the comments, and that basically will draw their attention. Oh God, Case Flower School is live at the moment, I can pop over and look at them. So that's our ruscus. Ruscus, by the way, is an amazing lasting foliage. Lasts for ages, and believe it or not, it lasts out of water for ages. So if you're ever looking for something for doing table garlands, it's a brilliant foliage. Now, red rose, the rose or the variety of rose that I'm using here today is called Rhodes, R-H-O-D-E-S. They're a nice strong rose. I'm just removing the guard petals from around the outside of it. Little bit of a blow on the inside, and great long-lasting rose, nice strong stems, nice big heads on them as well, and they do last quite a long time. Now another good rose that I recommend for Valentine's Day would be the Red Naomi, or also the Freedom Rose, okay? So they would probably be my top 3 go-to for Valentine's Day. Now for cleaning off the leaves, what you could do is you could use your stem stripper just to kind of clean them down. Well worth investing in a stem stripper. We have them for sale on our website. They're really inexpensive to buy. So go to the website www.caseflowerschool.com, go to Floral Sundries, and you can pick one of them up. The next thing I'm going to use is a little bit of bear grass. Not necessary, absolutely love bear grass here at the school, do you know that way? And I find it just adds that little bit of movement. So ingredients wise, if you're taking any notes there, you need your ruscus, bit of bear grass, you need your rose. You need your brown paper, and you're going to cut a rectangle of brown paper for yourself. You need your red satin. We need a rectangle of red satin. You need your hand-tied twine, and get your string prepared like I show you on the hand-tied course. Now what we're going to do is I have my brown paper, and I've already folded over one corner of it. And now I'm just going to fold down the second corner, and I'm making like a nice neat triangle point, and I'm going to secure it with a bit of sellotape there. So I'll just hold that up just so that you can see the effect of it. And then with our red satin material, I've done exactly the same effect. It looks like a pair of knickers, doesn't it? Nice big pair of red drawers. We're always saying, if you ever need a bit of confidence, I know it's something Deirdre covers with the students, and when they're nervous doing something, whether they're nervous about maybe dealing with a bride or their first wedding or whatever, we always kind of think you need to ground yourself. And as a female, but I'm sure it works for the males as well, we always tell our students, put on a pair of red knickers, okay? They ground you, doesn't matter what you're wearing, and whatever it is about it, maybe it's psychological, do you know that way? But I have a half dozen red pairs. Many of you got, Deirdre.
I have a few.
So we do that all the time. It probably is a psychological. So if you ever see me and you think, God, she looks like she could be a little bit nervous today, and then you'll say, I bet she has her red knickers on. Anyway, we're not doing knickers here today. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to place then my red satin material, just trying to grip the two of them there, on top of the brown paper, and that's the effect. It's obviously easier if I leave it lying down on the table before I start. Okay, push that out of the way. The other thing I'm going to use today is little remnants or offcuts of brown paper and the satin material. So this would be just like where you'd have little offcuts of brown paper, and I'm just kind of folding them irregular. So you can see the way I've kind of got 2 points. A lot of people would think, oh God, fold one point on top of the other. Or I've done the same with the red kind of satin material. Again, I've kind of like a little pocket handkerchief, okay? Again, short, like small little square pieces of satin. And again, just kind of like fold them over, kind of very irregular, kind of getting them kind of 2 little points. So I have 4 of the red ones and 4 of the brown paper. I probably won't use them all. It's all down to being prepared. So if you're doing this from scratch, you might say to yourself, because there's a lot of work there, all that what she's doing, to wrap up one single rose. But the thing is, if you know it's coming up to Valentine's Day, this is something that you can be organising in advance. Now obviously Valentine's Day is the 14th of February, and I know we've had a lot of questions, people asking us about wrapping up bunches of flowers, wrapping up presentation bouquets, and then also making things a little bit more sustainable and environmentally friendly. Well, what we've done is we've added a brand new package to our Module 2, and our Module 2 program is starting on the 15th of February. Now Module 2 covers everything to do with hand-tied bouquets. That's just one section, and we have another 19 different classes, okay, where we cover the likes of funeral sprays, from small funeral sprays to big long full-length funeral sprays, but also all the different types of funeral tributes, round wreaths with sprays, hearts with sprays, crosses, pillows, cushions, gates of heaven, you name it, it is all part of the Module 2 program. But what we now have done is we've added another 6 classes to that program, and it's all about more sustainable presentation, wrapping up single flowers and wrapping up bunches of flowers, kind of like less inexpensive ones. Now I know at this stage we probably have students who have already completed Module 2, and you're probably watching here today and you said, oh God, I'm after losing out. As you know, as a student of Kay's Flower School, once a student of Kay's, always a student of Kay's. So once you've completed all your online training with us here at Kay's Flower School, as in Module 1, 2, 3 and 4, you automatically graduate onto the Bloom Studio. And in the Bloom Studio, you will get free access to that brand new program, and it'll cost you $0. Well, the next time you meet me in the pub, you can buy me a gin and tonic. What do you want?
I'll have a glass of wine.
She'll have a glass of wine, she will. But other than that, it's going to cost you absolutely $0. For anybody that's booking onto the new Module 2, which is starting on the 15th of February, which is the day after Valentine's Day. And I know you say, oh God, I wish that course was on beforehand. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to facilitate you. Because again, we're always saying we're the course that keeps on giving. So all of our students that are booked on Module 2, booked and paid up, you can get early access to that section, that chapter of your Module 2, where you have 6 different classes on wrapping up bunches of flowers, wrapping up single flowers, and you'll see it all step by step. Obviously today is a live class, so we're doing things kind of like fairly quick and fairly fast, and I'm not going into as much detail about how I'm folding the materials or the quantities or the measurement of the materials, but I do cover that on our professional program. Okay, back to our single flower. So what I'm going to start off is, just in your hand, a little bit of greenery, and a little bit of bear grass, just kind of like loosely in your hand. And to be honest, it can be any foliage. So if you would prefer to use a little bit of eucalyptus or a little bit of pilosporum or an aspidistra leaf, it would be absolutely perfect. And then I'm going to rest my rose, just kind of catch that in there, and then just to finish it off, I'm just going to add in another little bit of grass. So very, very simple, okay? I'm using a long stem rose because I want a large head, but I am going to cut it shorter later on. But if somebody wants to use a short stem rose, you could, but I always find as a single rose, and it's one of the short stem ones, the rose heads are absolutely tiny. Now, like, that's going to blow open an awful lot more of that variety. But the short stem little roses, I'm going to say like supermarket roses, they're not great as a single rose. They're a little bit cheap, you know, that way. So you'll be cheap looking, as well as being cheap to buy, they're also cheap looking. So sometimes for single roses, even though you pay by the length, the longer they are, the bigger the heads, and it's a better variety, better version. So now what I'm going to do is place my flower, just going to move my satin up, place my flower down onto the brown paper. And again, I'm just going to bring it up a little bit just so it's not too hidden down there. And then I'm going to, using the one hand, I'm going to bring my brown paper wrapped around on that side, and we'll tuck it in like a duvet cover. There you go. Tuck that in there a little bit, and we'll wrap our other one around it, okay? So you're kind of getting that sort of effect, like a sleeping bag or a duvet cover. And then just kind of get your hands and grab or gather in everything together. And a little bit of boosting around here just to get it a little bit more even. And there is, and you can see I can move it up and down a little bit, there is our single flower nestling in there on our red satin material. Very sexy looking, isn't it, for Valentine's Day, with our little bits of grasses and a little bit of rusks coming up through it. Now I just want to add a little bit of decoration to it instead of a bow. And this is where I'm going to use the satin and the brown paper. So taking up little pieces of the satins that's folded already, using one hand, I'm going to fold them over and fold them back again and just catch it in there at the end. You see, like that sort of effect. And then with the brown paper I'll do similar. So just fold it over in half, fold it back again, maybe fold it once more because this one's a bit bigger. And again, just kind of catch it in there with the red satin at the bottom. So it's kind of like a little rose effect. So I'll take up one of the satins again, fold it over, fold it back, tuck in the end and catch that there with my finger. Do you see the effect that I'm getting? The brown paper. And by the way, there's no particular system, like you're kind of saying, is a red satin, brown paper. It's whatever I kind of feel that it actually needs, you know, that way. So bring that one around to the side there, and I think I'd like a little bit of red satin in there into the centre. So again, another little bit of folding in, catch that in there, and eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I think I might bring another brown paper over the other side, and it's completely up to yourself. You can use a lot less and a lot more, it's whatever you feel. So I have two more made up on the table. I might as well use up their little bits and pieces. And as I said, it's a great way of using up your scraps, you know, that sort of way. Scraps of papers and materials that are lying around, and she will add in that little one there at the end. So that's just a little way of decorating the end of the rose without actually making a bow effect on it. So now what I'm going to do, just make sure they're all gathered in there nice and tight, okay, is I'm going to get my hand-tied string. So I have one made up here, just tied to the edge of the table. So when I teach our students to do this, we always have a long string and a short string and a little loop. I'm going to bring it around the bouquet, bring it around the single flower, and I'm going to catch it with my teeth, like so. And I'm now going to put my two fingers, just move my small loop there, my two fingers inside that loop, and I'm going to grab the longer twine on the opposite side. And I'm going to bring the longer twine in through that loop, okay, and then I'm going to pull it. And you can see, like a lot of people say, that was a lot of work, Janette, to do that, but I'm able to do it now with one hand. And like the whole way through this design, I just used the one hand. So wrap that around a couple of times, and then what I'm going to do is my two pieces of twine, my long piece and my short piece, I'm going to tie them together. Now I'm not going to tie any other bow onto this, like my remnants of material, the offcuts of brown paper and red satin, that is my bow. So I'm just kind of tying a double knot there. I'm going to cut these little strings off all together. I'm going to trim the ends, not too short, and there is your single flower wrapped up all ready for Valentine's Day. So I hope everybody enjoyed that. Obviously, if you have any questions, place it in the comments. I will try and respond back to everybody as much as I can, like later on this evening. And again, anybody that's interested in our Module 2, it is starting on the 15th of February. There is a SkillNet funding grant which pays 25% towards it. If anybody is on social welfare, you probably are entitled to the TESG grant, which is €1,000. So it costs you probably nothing for the course. And the best thing to do is drop me an email, info@caseflourschool.com. Or if anybody'd like to give us a ring here, obviously ring when we're finished the live class. Give us a ring here, you can have a chat to us, we can see exactly what your floristry training requirements are. And again, our phone number is 01 for Dublin 4538649. So thanks a million everyone for joining. Talk to you all very soon and hope everybody has a fabulous Valentine's Day.